Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. We've made it to Friday. I guess they say TGIF. Today is November 14th, 2025. Great to be with you this morning. We are following up again. I guess it's the fourth consecutive day that we're talking about the new campaign. A number of you have wanted landing pages for the free funding proposal. We produced a number of those in the past 24 hours. So, Donovan, yours should be live. Mr. Hicks, yours should be live. And anyone that's needing a landing page to drive in for the free funding proposal, you can let us know. Again, our goal is that you would go through it yourself because that's the best way for you to see the benefit and know the process. So here on the screen is the same one-page flyer that we've had several days. I'm going to take just a couple moments and quickly go through this, just in case you're not entirely familiar, but also as maybe a resource for you to replicate if you were introducing this to someone. So let's pretend you're a group of prospects and I'm you. So I would mention, I would open it up, and rather I'm doing a webinar in person. I want to start with a question. I would say, well, good morning, everyone. Have you ever ran into someone that's looking for funding, that they need money to start or grow a business? Well, I know I sure have. And because of a grant we received, we're actually offering free funding proposals. And I'm going to spend the next couple minutes just describing to you how that works, and I'm here to answer questions that you have. So pause the role play. So what I'd like you all to do is in the Q&A, it's like a chat function of Zoom, you ask the questions that you think the audience might ask you, or questions you have yourself, because we're kind of doing a role play today, if you follow. Okay, resume role play. So we're going to specifically talk about how this 501c3 grant-based program can help anyone access a million or more funding with $0 out of pocket. So we have a lot of smart people that have put together a program that allows grant participants to get what they want, which is money, without having to put any money in out of pocket. It's designed to work for the typical client, the typical participant that way. Now, at the bottom, you're going to have your information, not ours. So, of course, if you were presenting, you'd make sure that each of your audience has either a physical or an electronic copy of this, but you wouldn't have our information on it, right? You'd have yours, same as here. Okay, resume role play. So what I want to do is just take a couple minutes and walk you through how it works. So it's clear, you see that it's real, it's legitimate, and then again, to answer any questions that you all have. In this graphic, it's really broken down into three steps. So right now, all of us are right here. Now, I know what we want to do is be over here. We want to be able to get funding to start or grow a business, whatever dollar amount that you need is you can insert here. So right now we're here, but where you want to be is here. So let's talk about how we can help you get from here to here without any money out of pocket. So when we talk about our funding proposals, they are developed with no out-of-pocket cost to get funding offers. Our model is that you don't pay for promises. Instead, our model, it's not free, but our model is just like a realtor. When you worked with a realtor to buy a house for your family, you didn't pay the realtor in advance, but at closing, the realtor was paid, right? Based upon the size of transaction. Same for us. So it's not a free program, but there's no upfront, it's designed for no out of pocket. And we're incentivized to get you as much money as you want. So we have aligned incentives. You're going to be able to get offers with no hard inquiries. And I just conducted a YouTube training, it's on YouTube yesterday, where we talked about some recent grant participants that have gone through this. And we're seeing hundreds of thousands of dollars of offers being available. There are a lot of lenders that are very motivated to loan money. So when we talk about offers, you might be really impressed, but we won't know what your offers will be until you go through the process, which again doesn't cost you anything. Sometimes people are worried about their personal credit. Well, our goal is to help you get a large amount of funding, whatever amount you want, through business funding. So the focus is on the business more than the business owner. But regardless, back here on the funding proposal, everyone gets approved. So certainly the better credit, the more options we'll have, but no one is turned down because of credit. Again, you'll be able to get the offers. They'll be in front of you. You'll see the amount, the repayment payments, the term of the loan, the interest rates, and you're able to choose the offers that you want. It's not unusual that we can arrange for 100,000 or more just in this first tranche alone. But again, each person will get their own offers based upon their application. That's why we offer the free funding proposal to see what you qualify for. The great news is this, we call it first tranche. This first tranche is very quick. You could get funding as soon as tomorrow or in the next couple of days. And then if there are any other expenses that you have in getting your business set up properly, the model's designed to fund that through this first tranche. So this is where we're at now. And so pause role play. So if you're doing this, you probably want to lead, not push, but lead the prospect into taking that next step. So you could text them your link if you're not with them. If you're there in person, you could have them fill it out on iPads or on a kiosk. But ideally, when you're presenting, when you're educating an individual or a group, part of it should be, okay, let's go ahead and get your numbers now. Go ahead and help them fill that out. If any of you have ever been involved with voluntary benefits like Colonial or Aflac or Legal Shield, those people are really good at walking people through an enrollment. Well, we're not enrolling someone, we're helping them complete an app to get offers, but we want to integrate that in. All right, so regardless if you're going to help them apply at that point or not, let's just continue on with the role play. So once we have this funding proposal out of the way, you've got money in your pocket, maybe 50,000, 150, maybe a couple 100,000. Now we're going to move on to the second box, the second step of the three steps. Because what we know, and I think you would agree, if we want to get business funding, we need to have a fundable business. So that's what we're really good at. That's really how we got the grant, is because we're experts at helping small business owners legally and ethically have a fundable business. So we have a team of attorneys and paralegals, and that's what we're going to do with no out-of-pocket cost, work with you to build out your business so we can qualify for that large funding. One of the things that we'll do is add trade lines. Trade lines under your EIN, under your business, is important, and they're real, they're usable. It could be company cars, could be company credit cards, company lines of credit, just for example. But we're going to help you add trade lines under the business that are real, usable, and then it builds up your business credit profile. We also, at no cost, transfer assets to your balance sheet because collateral is important, so that's included. And then often our legal team that I mentioned will turn around and help you liquidate the collateral that we transfer to turn that into daily bank deposits. You might have heard before of the 3 C's when it comes to business funding: credit, collateral, capacity. Well, that's why this program is so strong, because we take care of all three. We build the credit profile of the business. If you already have a business, we can use it. If not, we can transfer to you a shelf corp. Regardless, we need of which entity it is. We need to have strong business credit profiles. We do that. We need to have collateral. We provide that. And then we need to show good capacity, the third C, or cash flow, and we facilitate that. So once you have the funding proposal and you've got money in your pocket, we're building out the business so it's fundable. Now we're going to be able to go for the large funding. So with that, Again, no out-of-pocket cost. We're going to be able to legally and ethically qualify for larger business funding amounts. These could be either loans and or lines of credit under the EIN. There's lots of different funding options. As of yesterday, the SBA reopened after the government shut down, but there's lots of different types of funding options. And in fact, we have access to a lender match software, so we're able to put in the information that you provide us from the funding proposal, and we're able to literally match you to the right lender and loan program for this large capital raise. And by having an understanding of where we're going to get the funding from, that lets us know what the build out needs to be. It's like if you and I were going to take a trip this weekend, we would need to know where we're going before we could purchase the airline tickets or plan our road trip. Again, the whole program is designed for the typical participant to have no out-of-pocket costs, so that won't be a barrier. And lastly, there's frankly no risk because we guarantee the funding that's in writing. So again, continue with the role play. What questions do any of you have? And you could pause role play. You could do this again in person, which is great. You could do it in your living room. You could do it at a church. You could do it at an apartment complex. You could do it at a chamber. It's up to you where you want to do it. You could do it online. But hopefully you've integrated in where they've actually filled out the funding proposal. We want to take advantage of this interactive nature to have them do this during the process. But then normally when we finish the graphic, then we would open it up for questions. So let's continue the role play, and you can type in the questions that you have to let me know what questions you think a typical client would have if you just gave them, I'm not a client, but a prospective client would have if you gave them this presentation. All right. Gino asked, as a pretend audience member, Gino asked, well, I already have my own business. Is that okay? Well, Gino, great question. So, yes, we do need to have a fundable business, but Gino, we can use your current business if you have one, or we have access to shelf corps that we can provide and use the shelf corp for the funding. So either way, or we could do it both ways, Gino, but either way is fine. If you want us to use your current business, you can just include that on the top half of the funding proposal app. Not a problem. All right. Greg asks, is this part of their capital raise? Well, obviously it is, Greg. This is part of the capital raise. Great. So what other questions do you think, because no one else has given me any questions, what other questions can you think that people might have? So Donovan, I'll pull you in. Donovan, I think you said you have a group of clients coming to your office today to talk about this. That's why we had to hurry up and get you your landing page right away, which you should have, Donovan. So with that, what questions, Donovan, do you think that those folks might ask you today? All right, Gino has a follow-up, and he's, again, role-playing. Well, how do I apply? Well, you're going to need to get them your link, right? You have a link, or if you don't have a link, you need to call us and get your link. So you have a landing page that looks just like our landing page. Our landing page is fundingproposal.org. So that's stated here. But you're not going to drive people to our landing page, Gino. You're going to drive them to yours. So the way that people apply is to go to your landing page. Now, if you're just here as a potential participant, not as one of our distribution partners, then the answer more directly would be go to fundingproposal.org. Does that make sense, Gino? But if we're role playing, you never want your audience to not know how to proceed. You want to help them understand the next step, and that's the call to action. The next step should be even before you completed this. Again, as I mentioned, when I'm on column 1, I would be going ahead and facilitating them filling this out at this point before we continue the rest of the discussion. It's just part of the conversation. And if you lead people effectively, you should have 9 out of 10 fill out the damn funding app. All right, the question is about no out of pocket. So that's a great follow-up question. So the way that this was designed is if you take the average person, the typical client that we're going to be able to raise capital from the funding proposal. Just like we talked about yesterday, we used some real examples of people that had access to hundreds of thousands, but everyone gets at least one offer. But the design for the average, for the typical client, is that they're getting enough from this first tranche that it funds everything else. So that's the design. Now, can there be an outlier? Could you have someone that's kind of downtrodden and they don't meet that normal situation? Sure. But normally that's what happens and it's great. So no out of pocket. Okay, so can you see yourselves going out and educating and helping people? We have 631 of you on this morning. So, Rod, I mean, you're one of the smartest guys I know. You've consistently told me how you're going to perform big numbers. Rod, what would you need, or any of you, but Rod specifically, what would you need to be able to start helping people using this model? You get a free landing page, so it's not a cost issue. You get the free flyer, the free resources. Now, granted, you need to come up with your audience or your prospective leads, but Rod and Mr. Newton, Star Maine, great to see you on. I'm just curious, for those of you that have not been producing much in the past, what would keep each of you from using this model and starting to help people? Because as a reseller, I should say, as an affiliate, you're making $250 for each person that you feed in that goes through the process. So that's better than a stick in the eye. And then if you also want to be a reseller, then of course you'd make the 5% on the back end as well. But even with the 250 a pop as an affiliate, that's a pretty good income. If you had a group of 10 people, either in person or online, I would really expect 9 out of 10 to sign up. Well, 9 times 250 is about a little over $2,000 for doing a 30-minute educational message. I don't know many people that make $2,000 an hour, but you certainly could be and should be. All right, so who has questions, comments, concerns on you? So we're here on Friday. We're not going to be back together until Monday, right? Because we don't get together on weekends. What do each of you need to do to be able to go get your first person enrolled? The first of anything is the hardest. The first dance, the first kiss, first free throw that you shoot. But what is it that any of you need? Or Ernest, what do you need to be able to go help someone and generate daily deposits? Corinthian, what do you need? What have I not covered, Corinthian or Christopher or Benita? What's missing so you can go execute this? All right, Kenneth says he doesn't have his landing page. Okay, so if you don't have your landing page, then give us a call. But the way you get the free landing page is just to go through the process, right? So theoretically, I guess you really don't need to call. You would go to fundingproposal.org and go through this first step, the first step. And by doing that, then you can qualify to be an affiliate with no cost, no out of pocket cost. And that way you're going through it, you're getting the desired outcome, you can be a success story. But that's the answer. Some of you will contact us and say, well, how do I get started to being an affiliate on the free funding proposal? The answer is go to fundingproposal.org. Don't pay anything. Don't sign any contracts. Just come to fundingproposal.org and go through it yourself. That's the ticket to the dance. Because if you don't know the steps, how in the world are you going to educate and motivate others? Starmaine has a question. Do they need to have a business or personal account? So there are no prerequisites. So if they have a bank account, that's fine. If they don't, that's okay. But there really aren't any prerequisites. So if they have good credit or bad credit, they have a business, they don't have a business, those are not prerequisites. So don't worry about that. Don't look to qualify people. Anyone that wants to participate is welcome, regardless of their location or what have you. All right, Rod says he's going to be uploading 10 clients. That's great. Let's see. Um, yeah, and Mark brings up a good point. So When people get their first tranche, they're going to get offers based upon their app, their application, which you kind of expect is not going to be based on someone else's app. So everyone's going to get at least one offer. Everyone. No one's declined. Some people will get lots of offers, and that's the training we covered yesterday that's up on our YouTube channel. So if you want some raw examples, go back and look at some of the success stories we covered yesterday. But this will work for anyone. The key is most people want this. Most people want money, but you can't just wish for money. You can't just want money. You can't just need money. We need to qualify for money. So that's really the value proposition. The truth of the most important thing that we do, we together, is frankly the middle box. It's creating fundable businesses. But what we want to do is attract them in based upon the end goal, which is true, and get them started with putting some money in their pocket and not having any out-of-pocket expense. The time is times are tight. People don't want to or prefer not to spend money out of pocket. So we've developed a model that for the average typical participant, they're going to get cash offers and it'll fund the entire project. But if anyone's missing their landing page, first thing is make sure you've done this step yourself. And if you feel like that somehow you've done it and we've not delivered, just go ahead and give us a call. And this number is answered live. We have a team of 6 receptionists now answering the phones. It's possible that all 6 are on the phone, but there's 6 of them during office hours. You can either speak with them or if you get into voicemail, which is unusual, leave a message, but we'll get it fixed. But first step is to fill out to do this yourself. If you've already done that and you feel like somehow you still don't have your landing page, give us a call and we'll get it resolved. All right, on Fridays, we like to keep it a little shorter because we're very busy. I know you're very busy. We want to finish the week strong. So have a great day, a great weekend. Let's get everyone to have at least one conversion between now and Monday. We have 632 of you on at this moment. So can you imagine the impact if together we could help 632 or more people over the weekend get access to capital? That's powerful. We're changing people's lives, we're changing communities, we're giving people an outlet to pursue entrepreneurialism that might not have otherwise because of a lack of funds. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you back Monday morning. Let us know if you need anything. Just give us a call. Bye.